I really hope that I say something very controversial, and then in the future, when I'm super famous, it becomes like headline news. That's the goal.
Welcome to another episode of Room 36. Today we have Jason Lemon.
Thank
My
you
bro.
for having me. I'm very honored to be part of this very popular podcast.
Yeah, and we're joined today by Feiruz as well in the background, which is relevant because you and I met in Lebanon.
Yes, we did.
How long ago was that?
A little bit more than 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, next year is our 10-year anniversary.
How
So-
has our friendship changed through all these years? Has it changed?
Like on some ways, no. I think we still kind of do the same thing we've always done,
Which
which is like we hang out, drink too much, talk about dreams and goals and like things going on in our lives, travel,
act
or like
ridiculously.
act ridiculous, act dumb. I don't know, but I think we're both more mature in ways, maybe more immature in other ways. I don't know, but we, yeah, like I think we just like understand each other better or like notice things about each other more. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think there's more. I mean, I think that's with any friendship, but over time, it's like now at this point, it's like okay, like we know we're gonna be friends. I think forever. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Something could happen, but it's just like we're not so concerned. Like, okay, this sounds bad, but maybe we're not so concerned about like hurting each other. Like, not that we're like, oh, I'm gonna hurt you, but it's just like we feel comfortable that we're not gonna like do something that will like destroy the relationship, which is good and bad because maybe sometimes then we like, I don't know, yeah, I don't know, you know
That
what I
makes
mean?
sense, yeah. But it's safe. It's like a solid,
Yeah, safe. That's a good word.
consistent friendship. And yeah, our early days were in Lebanon. And we traveled a few times out of Lebanon to different countries.
Turkey,
To Turkey.
Dubai, UAE.
You were, what was our situation? I was a student, I was studying Arabic, and you were like,
A staff working in the communications office.
yeah, but you became like somehow a coordinator? Or?
Yeah, I was like somehow sort of in charge of the foreign students studying Arabic.
You were like
So I
in
would-
charge of, you would like organize this trip?
Yeah,
Right.
I organized. I think for you though, I only organized the Jordan one because Joel was doing it at the beginning, and then yeah, so which is yeah. Anyway,
Okay, and Lebanon is an interesting place because it's changed so much from when we were there.
yeah,
You went there earlier this year.
yes, I was there in the summer for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
It's
and
supposed to be 1 week, but turned into
what
2.
can you say is like the big difference? I guess it's sort of a negative topic.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's just super depressing. I mean, Lebanon has had problems for decades. I mean, famously, they had 15 years of civil war, and then that ended in 1990. It seemed like maybe things were on the up and up for a while. I think in 2012 was when you and I moved there. I think at that point it was like kind of the end of a period where people were like more positive, and then when we got there, because of us, just happened to be like, I think there was still that attitude, but I feel like it started to unravel a bit. I remember the first year that we were there, like 2013, there was like bombs every month. So that was bad. But like then just like more crises started to happen. But now it's just really like the economy has completely collapsed. Like the middle class largely has fallen into poverty. People are starving. Like you can't get basic medicine, basic products. Like it's just impossible. And it's just the result of endemic corruption, complete political inability to do anything. Like it's just
Did the Syrian war have an impact on Lebanon?
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd have to ask like geopolitical theorists about that more. Like what my perception is that, yeah, of course, like the country had 4 million people, and then 1.5 million people showed up. That created tensions. People were not happy, and I'm not saying like that's good that they were unhappy, but like that's just what happens in those situations. It caused impacts on the infrastructure of the country. The infrastructure was already terrible because of corruption and horrible management by the government, but also because of some political parties in Lebanon got involved in the Syrian conflict, which meant like some Lebanese were like going there to fight. So the country was involved, and I mean they had been, just a few years before, Syria had basically been ruling Lebanon, and then Syria was collapsing. Although now it seems Syria might be doing better than Lebanon. But I think it definitely has an impact.
For me, it's almost hard to believe because especially with this music playing, I remember a time when we would go to Hamra or Jemeze, sit at one of these cafes.
Yeah.
Life was perfect. We were young and dumb.
Yeah, we just partied a lot. We just partied a lot, met lots of cool people, just... like did random stuff, went on road trips. What's your
best memory
or at least like that first year, like 2012, 2013, because you came back a few times.
My best memory was like later on, going up to the snowy mountains and being ridiculous, laughing, and like
that was early 2017, I think.
I thought Michelle was gonna fall into this hole.
Oh, me too.
We have this friend, Michelle. Shout out to her.
Michelle,
Julia,
wish you were here.
And I thought she was gonna fall into that massive pit in the earth. There's this huge hole.
Balu Bella.
That's what it's called. There's this huge hole in the earth. And it just like goes down, and it has this like bridge of rock at the top, and I don't think it's that wide. And it was covered in snow.
Yeah, and like the snow goes out on the sides.
Yeah, and you can't see anything. And Michelle is just like, I'm going out there
into the middle of it to take a fucking selfie, take a picture. And I was like, oh my God. And also like, yeah, dude, it was horrible. And our friend that was with us, I don't know if he had just told us, but I know he like one time like had set his camera there in the summer, like when there's no snow, like on a tripod, and then like left it to take a long exposure, and it fell.
Are you serious?
And like he just never got his camera. Like there's no way.
The hole.
Yeah, it's
what's at the bottom of that hole,
dude.
Man?
I mean, I'm sure there's like rock climbers and stuff that have gone down. So I'm sure like you could technically get the camera right, but it's so far that and it would be broken anyway.
Interesting.
But yeah, that was. But she survived. She's still alive. She didn't fall. And also, we had just walking down into that valley where that thing is, and the snow was like up to our like knees. It was super deep. So it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know.
Also, living in Burj Hamoud, we lived in the Armenian district of Beirut.
Yep.
There were some guys downstairs who had a studio.
Yeah.
Some Armenian guys. They're probably still there.
Probably. Or maybe they're in Armenia now.
Oh, yeah. That summer was when the trash crisis began.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun.
Which never ended, by the way.
We went protesting.
Yeah, we joined the protests.
That's my only experience properly, like, protesting with all this gas and, like, water being sprayed.
Yeah.
I guess you did a lot of that.
I mean, I went to all, like, with, local friends. We were going, like, every week that summer. And then I guess there were some others the next year, maybe, and... because I was like 2015, 2016. And then actually this summer, when I was there, we went to a protest because, as the viewers may know, I know you're aware, August 4 of 2020, there was a massive explosion in Beirut. I think they say, fact check me please, but I think they say it was the second biggest explosion.
Jamie?
Ever. Yeah. I think it was the second biggest explosion in history besides like the nuclear blasts.
Yeah, kind of looks like a nuclear blast.
So it did. I mean, and it was, what was it? It was like this chemical explosion that had been improperly stored for like a decade. And it was just, the result of mismanagement and corruption, and more than, I think over 200 people died. And the city basically, I mean, a lot of it like literally collapsed. Like people felt it up in the mountains, like, dozens of kilometers away, people felt it. and it shook their houses, even broke windows. So, and that happened when the economy had already collapsed. So it just was problem on top of problem. So anyway, this summer there was a protest on the anniversary of that, and I happened to be there for that, and I went with my friends, and it's pretty bad. I mean, they basically just tear gassed everyone, and even went down like streets where there are like bars and clubs and like parties and restaurants, and they just shot tear gas down those streets to like.
How do you deal with this tear gas? I mean, how would you describe that to somebody who's never experienced it before? I've only experienced it once.
I mean, it's just like I mean, I had a pretty direct hit in like 2015 or 2016. I was like in like 3 clouds of tear gas, and I was just in the middle of all of them. So I mean, when you're in that situation, you have to run, and you just have to pick a direction because you can't. It's disorienting. You don't really know. So you just run until you get out of it, and then you're just like coughing, and you're crying. I mean, you try to cover your face, but the fabric doesn't really help. And then, I don't know, there's different things, and I honestly don't know. There's much more seasoned protesters, probably, that can give you very good advice. Some people say milk. Some people say, just water. Like, water, I think, helps for sure. Just, like, dump it on your face.
What about urine?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I can't say no. I honestly have no idea. I wouldn't personally go for that as my first choice, but others may say that's the best option, so to each their own.
So out of Lebanon, we traveled to a lot of different places, especially you, because you stayed there 5 years.
Yeah, basically exactly 5 years.
What was a fun trip we did? I mean, we've been to a lot of countries together. Like a really large number of countries.
We'd have to count. I don't know how many.
20 something.
Probably, yeah, right. Maybe.
On different continents.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka was a really fun one with Ryan.
That was what I was gonna say if you were gonna ask, like, which one stands out. I think that, and then also when we took that train from Istanbul to Sofia, Bulgaria. I don't know why. Specifically, like, it was like, dude, a 48-hour trip, basically, from Turkey to Bulgaria. For some reason, it's just like super good memories in my head.
Yeah, that was like a new world.
Also, that day that I think we went to Sweden. We went to Malmo from Copenhagen.
Yeah. That was a fun, ridiculous day of laughing and being obnoxious.
But the thing is, they're not with Sri Lanka kind of, but like those other ones, there's not like a big, like, oh, and we saw this like amazing
we didn't like do anything.
It's just kind of like we hung out, like walked around, acted dumb. At that point in our lives, didn't really have money. Like we were kind of just like always. I remember in Denmark specifically, I like ran out of money. Like I was like, oh crap, like I don't have anything. I think I had a credit card, but like I didn't actually have cash. Like I just had to charge stuff like that I would pay later.
And both of us arguably still have no money.
Yeah.
We both have a lot of student debt.
America.
But we're very
freedom.
Smart. Thanks to that debt, we're very smart.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's okay.
Sri Lanka made me cry like the first day or two. I remember we were in the hotel and I was so overwhelmed because everybody was so happy. I was like nice and happy actually. They were like smiling. They were so kind, and I think I was talking to Ryan on the balcony.
Yeah.
Same balcony that some monkey like showed up on the next morning.
Was that in the first place? Or was that when we went to that mountain?
We went to Kandy, I think.
Yeah, right, Kandy. Yeah. It's like more sort of British architecture and stuff.
When we were in Kandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means in
I don't
their
know.
language?
Do you?
No, I don't know.
What comes to mind when you hear the word candy?
I mean, so for me, I think of my aunt because it's her name.
Really?
My aunt's name is Candy, and I have another aunt named Cherry. So
those are cool names. I think of Django Unchained.
Oh, which by the way,
Django Unchained.
she's married now, but my aunt Cherry, her name would be when she was born Cherry Lemon, because my dad's family name, my aunt's family name was Lemon.
Wow.
Is Lemon.
What's it like to have a family name? Lemon. What's that like?
I don't know. It's like any other name except I mean, probably other people get this too, but people just regularly, like, I think at least once a month for years, they meet me. Like, it could just be like a person checking my card at like the store or whatever. Like, they see my name, they're like, "Oh, Lemon, that's such a cool name." I don't know if that's normal for other people, or they think I'm like related to famous people with the
Like
last name
Don Lemon.
Don Lemon, which is funny. I mean, I guess it could potentially be possible. I wondered, because I know my ancestry is just very mixed white Europeans for the most part, as far as I know, but there's a lot of French, and I wondered if maybe it was like Le Monde, and then when like they immigrated, they took off the T or something, like miswrote it on the papers. But also it could just be an English name, like a British name. I don't know, because I have some English British ancestors.
I've never asked. Do you know how your family came to the U.S.?
Not really, no. Like I know on my dad's side, it happened like, I think early 1800s, if not late 1700s, and it was, I mean, and it's also like there's so much, like we're not like clearly like anything, like whatever that means, like like my ancestors are like French, German, Irish, British,
Mixed breed.
like just a bunch of different Europeans. So it's not like there was like a clear like community to follow. It was just a lot of, I think for the large part, poor people getting married, having kids, whatever. And then my mom's side, I know, was like late 1800s, and they came from Germany. But then her dad actually was half Polish, half German, and I don't really know like how they came. I know like my grandma, she was like ethnically 100% German, but even her parents, my great-grandparents, were born in Wisconsin, I think. And that was where my grandma grew up. And they lived in kind of a German community where they went to a German church. So like my great-grandpa actually spoke German, at least to some extent. My grandma didn't learn, unfortunately. So of course I don't know anything. But yeah.
I think you know some. I remember you using some in Germany.
I know like Scheiße. I don't remember any.
That's good enough.
Oh, ich habe Buttcrack. But Buttcrack is not German.
It's not German at all. We went to Africa together. That was an interesting trip.
The country of Africa?
We went to
the continent
Great
of Africa.
You know, one of those countries.
Whoa, I don't think that's...
I'm just
That
joking.
was the controversial thing.
I'm quoting...
the former president of the United States.
Yeah, I think they're great countries. That's why we
they're
went there.
fucking amazing countries.
We went... So I went there with you to Morocco and Senegal.
Yes. Yeah.
I broke my leg there, and you basically saved me.
He fell down a deep cliff and I got some ropes and dogs. No, it wasn't that dramatic. But I took him to the hospital.
Yeah.
In a taxi. I got a taxi.
Actually, and you kind of like...
Oh, and then I like made food and water for you for like a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I just realized you kind of visited me at various parts of this whole... Because I had this foot issue for more than a year.
Oh.
Yeah. Still, it's not like 100%.
We went to that hospital in Colombia.
We went to Colombia. Yeah, we went to the middle of some really sketchy looking place.
Yeah.
How would you describe that area of Bogota?
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't either. But apparently it's like the worst area in Bogota. Like, this is what I was told. And it was just like, literally, like, you're just seeing, like, everywhere, like people shooting up drugs, like doing different drugs, and like women that, I mean, again, no shame at all to sex work, but you know, like women that were like obviously prostitutes, like soliciting clients and stuff like that. And I learned later
even
that
like naked.
Even like naked, like basically naked or naked, and that was like the whole crowd there, and it was like getting dark, and then I found out later that apparently this is the area where foreigners are like always kidnapped. Yeah. Like it's just like, that's like what it's known for, like prostitution, drugs, and like kidnappings. And apparently what they do is they like drug you. They like, put a drug in your face and it like makes you woozy, and then they like put you in a cab and then ask for bribes. But you know, we didn't get kidnapped, so I guess
we were at this hospital and it didn't have really good conditions. Also, there were like patients in the hallway and in like a rough condition, and and dude, they told me the same thing that they told me in Africa. That you have a sprain. Like in Africa, they did an X-ray. They were like, "Yeah, you have a sprain."
Which, by the way, to clarify, we were in Senegal. Oh, yeah. I don't know if we said that. Senegal
somewhere
is a country.
In Africa.
We were in Dakar, specifically the capital.
We were in Dakar, French-speaking country on the coast.
Yeah,
which is the most furthest west point
in Africa,
the old world, I guess.
Oh, and or in the continent of Africa, right?
I believe in the old world, like including Europe as well.
That makes sense because we were only like 4 hours different from East Coast time, I think.
Yeah. And then like a year later, after all of this, I came to Ukraine, did an MRI, and one specialist looked at it closely and was like, "Oh, you have this very specific fracture that's not common at all.
Wow.
And we have to do surgery." And then he fixed it.
And how is it now?
It's good. It's like 96%.
But like, when you move your foot like that, do you feel like some tension?
No, I don't have all the flexibility that I have with my right foot. But it's getting close. It doesn't hurt at all ever anymore.
Like walking for a long time, it's fine. Running still bothers you a bit.
Yeah, but it was like 2 years of my life.
I remember, I remember. And you couldn't really run.
Expensive.
It would hurt to walk too much.
Yeah. But it was like it's interesting because it was like a global like mission to fix it.
It's a very interesting
broke it in Senegal. I flew to Spain, and then back to California. No, I got nothing in California because it was too expensive. I didn't have health insurance.
Didn't you get an X-ray, but then they wouldn't give you the results because you didn't want to pay for it or something? Wasn't there something? Your mom made an appointment, but then they were like, "Oh, it's gonna cost."
Yeah. So I had to like have it read with somebody really expensive, like a specialist.
So you got the X-ray, but you couldn't get it read.
Yeah. Yeah, really dumb.
Oh, wow, America has some problems, people.
It was like I could go to the doctor and like read it with them, or I could just buy a ticket to Colombia.
Which
is cheaper. It was like half the price to go to Colombia.
Yeah, I mean, tickets to Colombia from the US are often very cheap, just a few $100.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe now with COVID it's different, but...
And I could walk, like, fine, but I had some problem.
Yeah.
And then it was a chance to, like, go to Colombia. Yeah. I was still in, like, a traveling phase, kind of.
How did you pick Colombia? Didn't you think about Mexico? Or
First of all, because it was a new country, and we were doing this new country thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Still, we're probably doing.
It wasn't a new country for me, but I still flew down.
Very loyal fan. We stayed in the tallest building in South America in an Airbnb, which wasn't very expensive.
Yeah, I think there's a taller structure, but it's in the middle of the rainforest.
It was like...
And it's a scientific observatory, but this is the tallest...
Oh, really?
Like, residential building or... I think business building too.
But remember, it was like mostly empty.
Yeah, it was mostly empty. And even it wasn't finished. Like the top floors were...
And it had one elevator.
Oh yeah, it did, right. I forgot about that.
Which is like a safety hazard.
Yeah, but it was just... I don't know if that's the center, but it was like a central seeming area of the city.
And a few years ago, that was like $20. It was like maybe it was $30 per night.
20 or 30
total.
Yeah, I remember. But we moved to like we stayed in one apartment for like a week or a few days, and then we moved to another one that was like a different one. And I think the one we moved to was more expensive.
Yeah.
But basically the same, maybe slightly nicer.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were both like affordable for us. Like $30 is like quite cheap for an apartment.
Yeah.
For a night.
And that was cool because. Well, also in Africa, in Senegal,
Morocco,
Dakar. That was like the first time when we both were doing online stuff. You were working full time. I was doing my master's.
That's true. Yeah,
working part time. And that was like a new dynamic for us, because you've been doing online for a while.
Yeah, but well. Also when we traveled in Eastern Europe, I was working remotely. You were kind of were.
Which trip?
but just not as consistently. When we were traveling in 2017, when we went to like Georgia, Armenia,
yeah, I was
Kazakhstan.
working very part-time.
Yeah, but I was working full-time at that time.
Yeah, Kazakhstan. Oh, I forgot we went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did we do in Kazakhstan?
We went to the indoor beach. What do you remember?
The indoor beach, like a lot of banya, sauna.
We found this really cool party one night.
We're
at
like
some high skyscraper.
Yeah, we're becoming like real sauna goers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been to saunas in probably a lot of countries now.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, we did the indoor beach.
Yeah.
Which is like, I believe it's the second coldest capital in the world, and it was like freezing. It was like minus
something, 15.
In Celsius, I remember. I think it was minus 16.
Yeah, I remember in Celsius too, something like that.
But I met somebody and they said it goes to like minus 40. I don't know how that's possible.
Because we were there in November, right? So or early December.
Yeah, early December.
So I mean, I imagine it gets colder in January.
I don't know how people live with minus 40. I think in Ukraine it goes to minus 30 sometimes.
I don't know. I mean, I might have. I don't know the conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit, but I'm from Michigan, as you know. But growing up in Michigan, I think climate change has impacted this. But it used to get every summer negative. I mean, every winter it would get negative Fahrenheit temperatures, and like freezing in Fahrenheit, for those who don't know, is 32. So if it gets like below 0, it's like really cold. But I don't know like how that converts.
I think it's
Celsius.
like minus.
But we would get to like minus 5, minus 10, something like that.
Yeah, I would guess in Celsius it's like minus 20. Well, I don't know. We can check later.
Yeah. Jamie.
In the description below, guys.
Yeah. Show notes.
And what's that like for you working remotely? Do you miss going to the office to work? Do you miss the connection with people and sitting at a desk next to people sitting at their desks? Coffee breaks with people?
So I would say no. However, I did recently, like with like COVID and like lockdowns. I mean, I live in New York now, so we're basically back to normal life for the most part. With this COVID stuff, hopefully the whole world will be there soon. But I did sort of think like, oh, like it would actually be nice to go to the office, just because it was like I'd been isolated to some degree for like a year or more than a year. So and I've like had this like desire to like, you know, kind of like interact more with colleagues and stuff like this. But I don't think I miss the concept of like going to the office 9 to 5, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, like at all. Like I think what I would be down for is if there's like some like if it was like once a week or a couple times a month, you like get together with your colleagues and like have a meeting in person if you can. But I think I'm also fine if you don't do that, and then just like once a week you get together for drinks or dinner. Like I think that's the same, because I just kind of think it's nice to like have more of a connection, whereas often I feel maybe more isolated from them because like we're just like talking on Slack or whatever, which is fine. And I've been doing the remote thing since 2017, so even before COVID. It's been a really long time since I've like worked in an office. Yeah, it's been since Lebanon, actually. What about you?
What about me?
Do you
Yeah, I love working from home. It's convenient for me. I haven't done the whole like traveling, working full time like you have. But I work with people all the time, so I don't really miss like the social thing at all, because all day is socializing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about mental health.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about mental health.
It's on the agenda. Is there any different? Has there been any difference for you, like working from home, and like any risks? Any?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think specifically that. No.
Or if it's connected to COVID, because I know you had
Yeah.
like a rougher time when COVID started.
Yeah, I think that I got, which was a lot of people around the world had this problem, but I know like in last winter, like December, January, February, March even, I was really depressed. Like I like years ago, like more than a decade ago, I was actually diagnosed with mild to moderate depression. Saw a therapist. I even took medication for a while. I don't take medication anymore. I'm not currently in therapy, but I was in therapy during COVID and like everything.
It was like
But
Prozac or one of these things?
yeah, but again, I haven't taken that since 2012.
Was it a good experience? Like using Prozac?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe some people have side effects. I don't know, but for me, I didn't notice any negative side effects. I just started, I think it was a pretty low dose. And it's hard to say because like I was in therapy, and I had like just gotten into therapy. I had like sort of done before, but this is the first time I actually kind of did it more like intentionally intense. And I also got on medication right away. And I know that process within like 6 months, like I felt significantly better. I can't say like, oh, it was like 100% the Prozac or 100% the therapy. I think it's the combination.
What's the therapy thing? Like what happens there that's so significant? And you do therapy. You still do therapy, don't you?
I haven't now for a few months. I probably should start again. But I just like took a break.
What's the thing there? What's the difference between talking to a therapist, specialist, and talking to Daniel on the phone for an hour?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a benefit of talking to Daniel on the phone for an hour. Like, it's definitely amazing.
What does the therapist do?
I think, for me, what the therapist does, and I don't think I'm one of those people that has like gone to therapy, which I have some friends like this, and they have these huge breakthroughs, and it's like everything makes sense and like whatever. For me, it's always been more of like kind of a weekly check-in, and like you kind of like debrief on the week, like what bothered you, what's on your mind, and maybe also like you have some specific issues, like I don't know, for me it's like family, relationships, like stuff like that I had some tensions about that I needed to sort of process. And I think what the therapist provides is, well, one, they're like trained actually, they have a PhD in they're a doctor, they're a professional, like they've studied psychology and how the mind works for years and years and years, and they actually like know the science. Like it's not just like they're giving their own advice, and they're not even really giving advice, at least in my experience. It's more like they ask you questions, and then it like kind of guides you through a process, and then they help you identify patterns. So like for instance, I don't know, as like a very basic example, like let's say you date someone and they're abusive, okay. And then finally you break up with them, and then you meet someone else and you date them and they're abusive, and maybe you don't notice like, oh, I'm attracted to abusive people. The therapist like helps you notice stuff like that. That's a very basic example, but it could be anything, and it could be like addictions or like coping mechanisms that you're doing that are unhealthy, like drinking too much, or like
so
whatever.
They try to find some like synchronicities or like bad patterns.
Yeah, and maybe bad is too strong. Unhealthy maybe is better. And I think that can depend, right? I don't think a therapist has ever said to me, although I have heard about therapists that did this, and I think that, I don't know, I think it sounds like a bad therapist. I'm not an expert.
That did what?
But where like people would go in and they like ask like, how much do you drink per day? And then they're like, oh, I drink this amount. And they're like, you're an alcoholic. You need to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's like, okay, well, now I never want to see you again because I don't think I'm an alcoholic, even if maybe I am. And like, you just like, you know? So I think my therapists have always been like, well, like, how much do you drink? And then they'll like, they'll be like, do you feel like it's negatively impacting your life? And then you'll say, well, yes or no, and then they'll be like, well, how, like, what could we do, like, when you like crave alcohol, like, is there something else you could do, like, what other coping mechanisms that are healthier could you do? And they try to help you find that. It's not like they're saying like, oh my goodness, you're an alcoholic, like, you need to stop, you're bad. Like, it's more just like and also like, if it bothers you, right, they're not like trying to be like, this thing that doesn't even weigh on your mind is like the thing that should bother you. It's like they want to kind of guide you on your own path I think, again, this is my experience. There's different types of therapy. There's different approaches. I'm not at all an expert on it. I'm only talking about my personal experience and from what I've understood from friends. In my experience, it's a very non-judgmental space where it's just like your time to like talk, and they, again, like they don't really give you advice. They just like guide you and like sort of help you see things in a different way.
Do you think that everybody should go to a therapist?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I think it can provide value for everyone. I mean, yeah, like why not?
Yeah, I have some lined up. I'm interested.
Nice.
Actually, I was really like eager to start going to one, but then I moved. It's a good deal. And I'm okay. I don't know, whatever was going on, they like fixed.
Yeah.
It's something that happens with moving sometimes.
Yeah. And I know that like that was my again, this maybe sounds negative, but I know that like when I was traveling all the time, it was a coping mechanism for me to like sort of stay ahead of like depression or sadness or whatever. Just like always seeing new and exciting things. And now, which is fine, like that's not I wouldn't say that that's an unhealthy coping mechanism. I don't know. But it was just, that was my way of dealing with it, with things. And then like now I'm in a different phase where I like to be a bit more stable and like in one place, like have my own apartment. And I found like other ways to address, you know, like find excitement or to stay ahead of.
What does depression look like for you? What does that feel like? And do you know like, it's here? Do you wake up one day and you feel like, it's here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Actually, kind of, yeah.
What are the symptoms?
I mean, I think it is something that... So I think in my case, like, I think there's always, like, a bit of it in the back of your head. Or, like, a bit of a concern about it. Like, you're always, like, checking yourself. Like, am I depressed? Like, should I adjust my behavior or whatever? And again, this is because I've, like, been to therapy and, like you start to notice these patterns. So, like, yeah. So, for instance, in the winter, I don't remember if it was December, January, I, like... It wasn't I woke up, it was like the end of the day, and I just like suddenly was like, I'm depressed. And it was like and it was just kind of like, and it was kind of like, if I think about it, and I was like, obviously I was depressed, but I had been in denial about it. And then I like and I did
epiphany.
Something. Yeah. It was like this thing, and I was like, oh yeah, like I remember this, like, because I've been through like periods where it was like very depressed, you know, like for instance when I initially sought therapy and medication and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, like this is like at that level, like when I thought I needed medication, and I did, I think. So I Googled like how to know if I'm depressed, and I did some online quiz, and it was like, you are moderately depressed, see a therapist. I was already in therapy, so I just like told my therapist afterward, and she like kind of like went through what I was doing, and she realized there was some things that I hadn't really like highlighted in therapy, and she's like, yeah, like I think you're like moderately depressed, if not even bordering on severe. And she didn't recommend medication or anything, but it was just, but the thing is, I think it's like that. I mean, since I've like been in therapy and like learned to recognize these patterns and like the behaviors and the things that contribute to them, it also helps you find solutions or way to like get beyond it. So I was able to, I just kind of was like, okay, like what can I do? And I like went to Florida. I was like, I'll get some sun. I started taking more vitamin D because apparently that helps. I was already exercising, but I don't know, I guess maybe I put more effort on it. I tried to drink less because that makes you depressed. And I think like within a few months, like I would say by May, it kind of like lifted. So
is it lifted now? I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's things that I'm depressed about, but I don't feel like that moment in winter was like a moment where I felt like, oh, like this is a threat, like this is like a serious issue, you know, like this is something that like I need to address, you know, like it's like an emergency for me, like it is. And another thing I did, which I'm so grateful for my company that they have been so understanding, like I just started to, you know, like when I felt like mental health, like I took days off, like and I have vacation and sick days, so like I didn't like take more than what was allotted to me, but sometimes last minute I'd be like, hey, sorry, I can't work today. And then I asked to work less because I realized kind of my work was stressing me out too and causing at least part of the problem. And so I think working less days has given me more times to clear my head, and it's just I've realized that I needed to have more of a work-life balance, and this year like that's has been my big focus, to have this balance. Like, yeah, sure, I want to be good at my job, I want to like be successful, but I need for myself, and different people are different, but I need personal time. I need to have fun with my friends and all of these things.
My version of it is anxiety. Like, I don't think I have a depression thing, but anxiety can come and go, and I can sort of think I've become more aware of some triggers and notice that like it can stress me out, really stress me out. On the flip side, like with my brain racing all the time, I think I'm very creative. And the positive side of it is like like hyperactivity, maybe like some type of positive hyperactivity and extrovertedness is what it can look like. But then when it's bad, it's just like there's no stillness in my brain. It's just like something's wrong, and there's pressure. And like in the last few weeks, I've told a lot of people, this is why I thought about the therapist. I said, like, I don't know anybody who can understand this, because everybody wants to do more and is trying to figure out how to not be lazy.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. This is why I liked COVID, because I became very lazy.
Yeah.
And it was successful. I would lie down and think, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't even have any ideas.
Yeah.
To like write down or implement or call somebody about. I don't care. And I love that. I had an experience in California where I smoked CBD. And
I've never tried CBD, by the way.
Really?
No.
And I felt nothing right away, but like the next day, and I don't know if it's connected to CBD, but the next day I noticed like, wow, I'm so calm.
Nice.
I'm just completely calm. Yeah, and I had to go to the airport that day, and that's like more anxiety-inducing stuff.
Yeah. Is CBD legal in
here?
Ukraine?
I don't think so.
Really?
So.
No.
I have a friend who brought it here actually, and I tried it, and it didn't work that time.
Okay, because I was gonna say you should experiment more with it.
No, it did. It was like both.
Okay.
It like worked for a bit, and then I felt bad as well. Like I felt something.
Okay, because I think, as I understand, CBD is legal nationwide in the U.S. It's like it's treated like vitamin C, basically.
Yeah.
It's just
weed is not a calming effect for me at all. Alcohol, it can be a bit calming. So that's also a risk with anxiety. Or that's a coping mechanism for sure. By the way, these are red cups, but they were coffee for our viewers out there.
Yeah, we're not
worried about
drinking alcohol.
We don't have anything to cope about right now. I'm gonna say a word. You tell me what comes to mind. Let's play this game.
Okay.
Wooden horse.
Troy.
Chest hair.
Lebanon. That's weird.
Dirty socks.
Bedroom floor.
Bedroom floor.
That's 2 words. Oh, but you said what comes to mind, not 1 word.
Yeah, it can be anything. Stomach.
Dr. Seuss? I don't know why. That's the first image in my head. I saw these like Dr. Seuss creatures with these little stomachs, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Bricks.
Oh, Tetris.
Okay.
Which I'm not good at and I don't play, but...
Some phrases. I'll give you. Like, walking on ice.
Norway. I don't know why.
Sleeping with dogs.
Dirty. And it's not dirty, actually. I would love to sleep with dogs every night. But in my head, I imagined you're like in the dirt, like outside.
Picking one's nose.
Childhood.
Yeah. Did you pick your nose when you were a child?
Man, I still do sometimes. Let's be honest. Like, I think everyone does, and they just pretend they don't.
Closed doors. Behind closed doors.
Oof, sex. No, affair.
Affair.
Yeah.
Okay. Glass. Car. I don't know.
Dangerous. It sounds very unsafe. I don't know.
Dive head first.
Like, I think if someone's head exploded, like when they hit the pool.
صحتين حبيبي.
Habibi anta. Yeah, just I think of like really good Lebanese food.
Yeah.
Yeah. This means like it means two healths, my baby. But it means
Two healths.
But it's like cheers,
my dear.
or like bon appetit. It's bon appetit, my dear. Bon appetit, my dear.
Favorite dish? Lebanese dish?
Oh, man, that's a good. There's this dish called tiskeye with like, I think sometimes they make it with meat. I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat that one. But it's like yogurt and like nuts and dry bread and fool, and then sometimes also like eggplant, like grilled eggplant. Oh, it's so good. And specifically, there's a restaurant in Lebanon, if it's still open. I don't know. It was this summer. It was still open, called Mezian, and this is the best dish. Like for me.
By the way, we have two vegetarians in the room.
Oh,
Stas is vegan. You're a vegetarian.
yeah. I used to be
You're
vegan for a bit.
sometimes. You have vegan tendencies.
I lean vegan. Like I would say, like in New York, like when I'm going through my week, probably 3-4 days a week I'm vegan. It's not like a hard rule or anything, but usually I'm ordering like the vegan options. And usually like when I buy food for the house, I'm not really ever buying animal products.
So what's your rationale behind this?
I was raised this way. Yeah. That's literally for me now at this point in my life. That's literally the only reason. Like I think that there's I understand. I've been vegetarian for 3 decades. So I'm very familiar with like the health things that people say, or like the environmental things, or animal rights. But for me, I just kind of think like eating meat is normal. Like for me, I just prefer not to. I don't judge people that do. I don't think it's bad or anything like that. I'm kind of skeptical that me stopping to eat meat does anything to help climate change.
I want to ask you, because I sort of think that a lot of people need to take up some mission to try and like improve their environment. It's maybe a higher level of Maslow's hierarchy. What's your mission? Do you like try to, fight for something or improve something or represent some type of positive change, improvement in the world?
To be honest,
you must. I think you do.
I mean,
it doesn't have to be.
I don't think I have at this point, at least. Maybe when I was younger,
it doesn't have to be some hashtag goal. Like some really big active choice, but like something that you believe that you do that improves your environment.
Like I just really want to be kind. It's very basic, but I just really want to like try to understand other people's perspectives. I want to be just a nice person.
What if they're aggressive?
I want to avoid it at all costs.
What if they're wrong, Jason?
It depends.
And really messing up the world. Should you teach them a lesson?
I don't know. I mean, I get really angry about politics sometimes, but I wish I didn't. I am trying in my life to be more just understanding, like more kind, like more like because I guess I've, especially last year, with the pandemic and COVID and politics and all of this stuff, and it weighed heavily on my mind. I guess I just kind of came to this realization that like you can't really like control anything. Like so like the things that I can actually control is the way I interact with the people in my life. Whether that means like the person that I pay at the grocery store, or whether it means the waiter that serves me, or my friends, or my parents, or whoever. Like these are the things that I actually have control over, right? I mean, and not even them, like just the way that I treat them. And I think if everyone just had that mindset, which of course is very utopian, but if all of us were just like, oh, like we should just be nice to everyone, we wouldn't have these same problems that we have, you know? If everyone wasn't so like insistent that they were right, or like I should get my way, or like my freedoms are the most important, or like my rights are like we should all be like, oh, like yeah, like I want to be free, like I want to have my rights, I want to like I don't want to be disrespected, but like also like we need to understand and see that everyone wants the same thing, right?
Sure.
And I think that's my goal, and it's a process. Like I don't think I'm like this Zen person.
Yeah, but, I also think it comes full circle when you care about people. Like it comes back. I don't know. People care about you as well. They see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I mean, if you're aggressive and your instinct is to attack or criticize or like whatever, like I mean, you shouldn't be surprised if you don't get a positive reception from people, you know what I mean?
Or if you get
like,
fired or
yeah, exactly. And for me, like I don't know, like I know I fail, I know I like sometimes I'm negative and critical, but
yeah,
I don't know, I just try to be nice and kind. I don't know that it's a huge mission. I guess maybe I'm too nihilistic, and I'm like, yeah, sure, climate change, or like, yeah, sure, like politics, whatever. Like these are, yeah, they're problems. I just don't really think that I'm gonna like change it, you know? Like I'll vote the right way, I'll, you know, recycle, like whatever. But like I think that there's people much more powerful than me that are going to fix that problem, or if it ever gets fixed, I don't know. But
well, Jason, you've always been very kind to me.
Thank you. You've always been very kind to me too. It's probably why we're friends.
Could be. I think we're getting to that time, so just huge thanks for coming, man. It was nice.
Is it over already?
Over
I don't
already,
even think
yeah.
I said anything controversial. Maybe.
Last chance. Last chance.
Oh, what can I say that will really, really stir them up? I don't know.
Yeah, this is the end of episode 1. Maybe someday we can do an episode 2, man.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, episode 50 we can do eventually.
Yeah, maybe episode 10,006 from the moon.
Yeah, from the other galaxy.
Yeah. While we're sipping arak that time. Yeah.
Hey,
anyway.
Cheers. Cheers to you guys. Thanks for joining us. And see you next time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.